Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about transitional coaching. This is an area where I have a particular interest, maybe because I've been going through a transition or gone through a number of transitions. And transitions are always difficult because you're moving from what's familiar to a challenge, something that's new, unknown, so it can be a little scary. But in coaching, we think about that there aren't any problems, there are only opportunities. So that's a good way to think about transitions. Actually, AT&T has a nice ad campaign. I don't know whether it's still running, but think about the possibilities, or rethink the possibilities, I think is how it actually goes. So I think it's a very fruitful area to work as a coach. And in particular, retirement coaching is an area, if I'm going to narrow down that niche, is what I'm sort of focused on. It seems to me when you look around, it used to be, when the lifespan was a little less, you were born, you learned, you worked, you relaxed, and then you died. Very linear kind of experience. But now it's not unusual, especially if you're going to retire at 65. I mean, you may have another 30 years or so to live and do something. So, although there's a lot of talk, you watch any TV program that's focused on the baby boomer generation, you'll get flooded with commercials about financial planning and planning for your retirement. But there's very little about the emotional aspects of that. And that can be pretty crucial because we're really faced with this period of time where there's no structure, especially if you structured your life around work. And you need to find some meaning. I think one of the quotes that I've found in my reading that I find particularly pertinent is that you move from success to relevance. You really start thinking about your legacy. Who am I? What am I? What value am I going to leave behind? So it's a very fruitful area for people to really explore, what their real potential is, what they can do, what they can give back, what they want to do with that time that they have. And I find it a pretty exciting area to work in, and I think I can make a pretty good impact in people's lives in sorting out what they want to do with their lives after they've retired. To give you an example, when I sold the business, I really sat down, and one of the first things I did was to write up a resume. And when I started doing the resume, I had a couple of lines on it. I was a social worker, I ran a business. And it took, some thought and mulling that over. Well, what's involved in doing those kind of tasks, and what did you do in running a business? And by the time I'd finished, I had a pretty substantial resume full of skills that I had demonstrated, skills that I had learned. That was quite empowering and enlightening, and I think that's what a coach can do for somebody as they're approaching retirement or have retired.